The Many Secret Origins of Scootaloo. Chapter 14. Applejack. It was a beautiful day at Sweet Apple Acres. The sun was shining, there was a faint breeze in the air, and the cows actually paid their rent for once, bovines being notorious for latex. Granny Smith was in the kitchen, dreaming of a world without pears, the mortal enemy of the apple. Big Macintosh was plowing the field while thinking up a term for stallions that like smarty pants dolls, and Applejack was doing what she did best, bucking trees. Not that way, ya perverts! The unreserved pony trotted up to the red delicious tree, giving it a good once-over before selecting the right spot. 15% power, she muttered, before turning around and giving it a light buck. The tree trembled slightly, and a single apple fell down, which she snapped up and sampled. I told Blake Macintosh the other way, ha! You should be listening to me more often. Bracing herself, she raised her legs for a powerful kick. No! What tarnation? Applejack exclaimed, trying to give the tree a good hard look. Figuring she must have been hearing things, Applejack prepared to give the tree a good bucking. Again, not like that, you sickos! Please don't! Applejack slowly turned, staring at the tree in horror. What does you say? Please stop bucking, I'm trying to sleep! You talked! The tree let out a weary sigh. Of course I did. I can't believe it. Why can't you believe it, Applejack? The Everypony began to back away, eyes wide with fear. You know my name? Are you losing it, Applejack? Of course I know your name, the tree complained. A talking tree. Oh, Lord, the stories were true! Applejack bowed her head in reverence, remembering the lessons her grandpa Sour Apple used to tell her. I'm sorry I've been bucking your kid, Lord Tree. I'll do anything to make it up to you. I'll be your faithful servant. I'm not a tree. I'm Twilight. Twilight? Applejack sprung up, trotting about the tree. Sweet Bessie Mike, did a spell go walking on you and turn you into a tree? First ask will be so jealous. AJ, up here. Applejack slowly glanced up and found Twilight laying among the leaves, her eyes closed. Twilight, don't be doing that to me! I am thinking I was going nuttier than one of my cousins' Applejack's fruit cake. Well, I already am nuttier than that, so welcome to the club! Twilight groused in annoyance, shutting her eyes. Can you please buck this tree tomorrow? I'm trying to get some sleep. Now, why would you be resting in a tree? Twilight groaned. I'm hiding. From who? Myself, a crazy human, Time Lords, my maybe mother who is also a princess, and Lyra. And that's just naming a few. Applejack's brow furrowed. This wouldn't have anything to do with you blowing your lid a few times over in the past few days. Yeah. Applejack turned and gave the tree a good buck, sending her friend tumbling down. The Everypony managed to catch her and gently place her in the base of the trunk before setting her down. Now, y'all listen here, Twi. Don't let you get all mad and get you down. I'll let my temper get the best of me plenty of times, and Melbourne don't do me no good. Best y'all can do is just suck it up. Apologize to those that need an apology to, shrug your shoulders when it comes to the ones that deserve the scolding, and get on with your life. Twilight looked up to the sky, watching the clouds drift by. As he was pretty positive one of the clouds looked like Scootaloo. I wish it was that simple. Can be if you like it. Maybe Scootaloo is a cloud that— No! Stop that! Twilight stopped before addressing her friend. You don't understand. I've spent so much time hearing about Scootaloo that now I need to know the answer, if only to prove all those other theories are dead wrong! Say it, girl. Is that all you need? I can help you with that. You can? There it didn't. I know all about that little filly, and I can tell you the true story right now. Twilight narrowed her eyes. Are you going to claim Scootaloo is any of the following? A chicken, from the future, a superhero, or a human? Nope, nah, no way, and don't know what that is. Then all by means to Applejack, tell your story. Alright, now I heard this one from a pony that heard it from another pony, so I'll make you get my facts wrong. Well, apparently we are cutie mark pirates, Applejack complained, pulling off her eye patch. Oh, wait, my Isabella was a few sandwiches, and first I was going to give them to us anyway. She kicked the little rowboat in annoyance, sending Sweetbelle, who had been getting out, into the water. Hey, watch it! Sweetbelle cried out, gripping her pirate hat. If I get my mane wet, Rarity will throw a fit. Scootaloo shook her head. a bandana wrapped around her head, and a toy sword tucked under her wing. Yeah, we need to think bigger. There must be something we can do to get our cutie marks. Her tail flicked in annoyance, and her wings buzzed a little as he thought, what about cutie mark lion tamers? Where are we going to find a lion of this hour? Apple Bloom asked as he tied up the rowboat. We could use a rabbit. They are like lions with long ears. Sweet Belle offered, only for her friends to just stare. What? It's a good idea. I think we could just... Apple Bloom never finished, her jaw hanging, a hoof quivering as he pointed to Scootaloo's flank. Look, I Sweet Belle Scootaloo looked at the Pegasus filly's flank, eyes wide at the bright sight of the brilliant sun cutie mark that adorned her orange skin. You got your cutie mark! I did? Scootaloo, eyes wide. She reached over and, with a flick of her hoof, peeled away the sticker that became stuck to her. Darn it! Aww! Scootaloo shook her head. Well, that was depressing. The girls talked for a few moments before each of them took their leave, going their separate ways. The moment Apple Bloom and Sweet Belle were out of sight, Scootaloo shook her head, using a bit of magic to make the sticker disappear. That was too close. She flexed her wings, which grew in size until they were perfect for flying. With a quick gallop, took to the air, heading towards Caroline. AJ? Scootaloo can't fly, and she can't use magic. Don't worry, Twi. I'll address that in a moment. Night had fallen on Canterlot, just as Scootaloo had planned. She made sure to time her flight just right, so that none of the guards would see her come zooming in from Ponyville. Spying the entrance she wanted, Scootaloo tucked her wings and landed gracefully on the balcony, looking about several times before tapping her foot against the glass. Whoa, we are coming! A voice called out as Scootaloo took a few steps back, as Princess Luna pushed the doors open and looked at the little filly. Truly, sister, why must thou play these games? I assure you, sister, it is no game. Scootaloo said nobly, gliding into the room. Her voice held the wisdom of the ages, and it never failed to impress Luna that her sister could go from sounding so dignified to being so faultless. Couldst thou return to thy real form? Scootaloo smiled slightly, her body turning paler as she began to grow. Her mane grew nearly as long as she was, and her legs stretched up and her neck became swan-like. Her forehead came a long horn slowly extended, and her eyes changed color as she completed the transformation. Does that please you? Does this please you, little sister? Scootaloo used her magic to retrieve her crown, necklace, and shoes. That it does. Celestia. What? Applejack cringed at the sheer volume of Twilight's exclamation. Come on, Twi. Ain't you ever heard of not shooting down the messenger? How can you think that Princess Celestia is Scootaloo? Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? No, it doesn't! Applejack chuckled. Didn't make a whole lot of sense to me when I first heard it. But once I began putting the pieces together, all of a sudden it was the only answer that made sense. Applejack ran her hoof against the ground, making tally marks for all her points. I don't remember Scootaloo appearing in Ponyville until after you showed up and we became the bearers. The princess isn't likely to let us go running around with keeping an eye on us. No one ain't ever seen Scootaloo and the princess together in the same place either. What about Cadence and Sighty Arbor's wedding? Scootaloo was a flower girl! Applejack already had an answer for that. But I'll say princesses. I raised her Princess Luna stepped in and pretended to be Scootaloo, so no one would notice. Never seen the three of them in the same place. Also, why do you think Cadence would let my Rarity sisters be her flower girls? She ain't never met them, so why'd bring them in? Because Celestia asked her to. Princess wanted her friends to be part of the ceremony. Then, there are them friendship reports you all already sending. What about my reports? Ain't all the princess wanted to know about friendship and what 6 young mares doing all the time? Don't she got other concerns, like running all of Equestria? Twilight hadn't thought about that. Well, I assumed she wanted to keep tabs on me. Maybe. She wanted to have a reference guide on how to have friends, because she was planning to make some herself. Applejack leaned back, a smug look on her face. It's what I would do if I were her position. I'd go stir crazy in that castle with all them snobs. If I had the magic, I would change myself into a little filly too, and escape the boredom. Twilight sighed, unable to argue against that logic. She spent a long time in court with the princesses during her education, and she could attest that it got really boring, really fast. In fact, Twilight was pretty sure the reason the princess had brought her was to use Twilight as an excuse to end court early and to go play in the garden. Alright, Applejack, you made some good points. I want Twilight on this. This is the most believable one of the whole bunch. Still don't believe a word of your story, but still. Well, I ain't done yet. Oh no, Applejack proclaimed. Celestia looked down upon the quivering forms of the family that had committed grievous crimes against the crown and kingdom. There was no mercy, nor pity, within her icy eyes as she stared upon the perpetrators. The guards that stood over the wicked ponies trembled in their armor, thanking the moon and stars they weren't the ones facing the princess's wrath. The princess had found these vile ponies during her many trips to Ponyville in the skies of Scootaloo. She had witnessed their actions against her friends, and were afraid for bringing her might down upon them, because she had hoped they would learn to be better citizens, and treat their neighbors and fellow ponies with kindness. Yes, it was true that she had engaged in some snipping and snapping with the earth ponies, but she had always secretly hoped that the powerful family before her would decide to offer her their friendship. But hours ago, the youngest of the family had dared to insult Celestia's friend, bringing the filly to tears. In that moment, Celestia had revealed herself to the fiend, whisked her and her family to Canterlot for judgment. Filthy wretch, Celestia said, spitting out the name like it was a vile curse. Because of the slanderous attacks your daughter, Diamond Tiara, has lost at Apple Bloom of the noble Apple family, I sentence you to death! What? Filthy exclaimed, as he was led to the executioner pony. Please, please don't! Celestia scoffed. You didn't do anything to help Apple Bloom, the best filly in the world, and the little sister to the hard-working yet humble Applejack. Well, your daughter called her a poopy head, so why should I help you now? Celestia turned to the little filly that had started this, glaring at her. And as for you, Diamond Tiara, for daring to insult the Apple family name, you will spend the rest of your days working in the acid mines! Applejack, really? Applejack looked at her friend, smiling sheepishly. Sort of figured you realized that last part was a fib. Yes, especially since I saw Diamond Tiara and her father on my walk over here. Twilight rolled her eyes. Besides, the acid mines have been closed for a decade. So, what was with that story, AJ? It was kind of out of character for you. Sorry, Twilight. I was just so upset when I think about that little filly insulting my sister. If I wasn't a civilized filly, I would have booked that filly to the Everfree by now. She leaned in close, whispering. When Granny Smith found out about all the teas and tiaras doing, she began adding a special ingredient to Filthy Reese's personal supply of Sam Apple Jam. And that is? Applejack merely smirked, before spitting on the ground. Ew! I don't know what mess with the Apple family, Applejack proclaimed. I thought you were the element of honesty. Applejack shrugged. We warn only each year that we put our blood, sweat, and spit into every jar. Ain't my fault if Filthy don't listen. Twilight thought slowly before straightening up, her breath was heaving and rolling in her stomach. Well, this has been disgusting. I think I will. Before they could finish, they heard a whirring noise. Then a grinding. Then a great blue box appeared before them, slamming it to the ground. The farmer and the librarian looked at each other before rushing to the contraption. Doctor! Doctor, are you okay? The doors of the TARDIS opened, revealing a great Pegasus stallion with a blonde mane and lazy eye. On his head sat a unicorn colt with a silver mane cut. Applejack? The stallion said, confused. Why do you look like a girl? Because I am a girl, Applejack complained. Just because I don't take to wearing frilly dresses and makeup and talking about colts for the first 3 years of my life, my family thought I was a colt. Don't make me a stallion! Leave her alone, Twisty. A feminine voice called out. A chestnut mare stepped out of the TARDIS. But look at them, the little exclaimed. Dusky and Applejack have turned into mares. No, they haven't, Tiny. The man began to mutter himself, pulling out a strange cylindrical device and using it to scan the area. Where did you get that? Twilight said, recognizing the Dr. Who's beloved sonic screwdriver. And it's mine. And by that, I mean it's always been mine. Not that I stole it, and now it is mine. Twilight shook her head. No, that belongs to the doctor. The doc... Well, I guess I better end the naming you there. Anyway, no time to chat. We appear to be in the wrong place, which means we are in the right place. So into the TARDIS, everybody! Applejack let out a yelp as the mysterious mare began to shove her way towards the blue box. Just who the heck do you think you are? I am the Professor. This is husband companion Twisty Tail and our son Tiny. We are from a universe like yours, only your genders are the opposite of ours. It's all rather confusing if one involving L's and crosses, but I'll be able to tell you about it while we are saving the universe. Onwards and upwards! And yet, this is not the weirdest thing to happen to me. Twilight muttered as the doors to the TARDIS slammed shut. Well, folks, isn't this chapter ridiculous? I mean, Scootaloo being Celestia. We all know that isn't true. If any pony is Celestia, it's Charlie! Think about it. They have the same voice. We've never seen Charlie and Celestia in the same episode together, or in the same place. Celestia has a perfect excuse for popping in, and nobody would expect it. Oh yeah, I'm so totally onto you. We apologize for that little non-sequitur. Apparently the author is still a little bit drunk from drinking too much Dr. Pepper. We'll be back in a few seconds. And I promise that I will no longer have any weird theories about Celestia or Charlie, as long as I'm doing this live read of this particular story. I promise. There, is that what you want to hear? Yes, now get back to your job. Right. The main origins of Scootaloo, Chapter 15. The Professor. Exterminate! Exterminate! Twilight shouted out a bolt of magic, sending the Daleks screaming across the bridge of the battlecruiser the ponies had invaded. Behind her, a great viewing window showed them a sight of the planet that only Princess Luna had ever seen. Exterminate that! Twilight said, flashing a smug smile. Apparently, for all their advancements, the Daleks were unable to handle magic, which made them quite easy to deal with. They also couldn't handle bucking, objects being thrown at them, or a nice stiff breeze. Incidentally, Stiff Breeze was Rainbow Dash's stage name back when she was a dancer. It was a face she grew out of. Applejack chuckled as the $5 fired their weapons at her. The airship bolts bouncing off her flank like raindrops. In some cases, not even that strongly. Really, Professor? You thought these rocket trash cans would be a problem? Applejack rearing back gave one a hard buck, turning it into a wreck of metal and flailing jelly-like limbs. Run away! The three Daleks screamed, Run away! Run away! Run away! The Professor, who was a gender reverse Doctor Who's from another dimension, just in case you didn't read the last chapter, frowned. Well, apparently in my universe, the Daleks got to be a bit more advanced. What are you talking about, Mama? Tiny Who's called out, happily riding on top of one of the fleeing Daleks. The cult grabbing the Dalek's eye socket pulled, the creature letting out a whine of misery as it snapped off like a twig, leaving it behind. The Daleks are always easy to beat. Tiny giggled as the Dalek he was riding on began to spin about in circles. I meant in my original universe, before I was a pony. You weren't always a pony? Applejack questioned. So he was still trying to wrap her mind around the idea of there being a stallion that acted just like her. The idea that ponies weren't always ponies left her wanting to run back to the TARDIS screaming. The fact that there was a blue box that had taken her to space, that didn't even make her blink. Long story, don't worry about it. The Professor looked around the abandoned control room of the Dalek battlecruiser, scanning it with her screwdriver. Rather easy all this, I do admit. When Twilight gave her a confused look, Twisty decided to help her out. The meanies were fighting shielded their ships so the Professor couldn't enter in our world and the Doctor couldn't in yours. But they didn't plan on swapping universes. Twisty blinked, a grin growing as he considered something. Professor, what do you think gender reverse muffins taste like? Twilight rolled her eyes. Like regular muffins, since muffins don't have genders, she muttered. Well, not the genders we know of, the Professor mumbled. Twilight opened her mouth to question that statement, only to stab her saw strut and shrug it off. I must admit, Twilight, you are more grounded than our Dusk. He's always getting so frantic about the smallest thing. I imagine he is currently panicking. Probably driving, the doctor. The professor managed to stifle her giggles as he thought of the silly name. Utterly mad. Not that you ain't already, Applejack stated. Twilight merely shook her head, blowing a strand of hair from her eyes. I'm just glad for the change of pace. Sure, fighting an alien invasion and saving Equestria from an intergalactic army is a bit different, but after spending the last 2 days hearing nothing but Scootaloo stories... Scootaloo? Who's that? Tiny asked, striding over to them, his heart glowing as he dragged along the twisted remains of a dog's shell. I think it's a type of fish. The professor put her screwdriver away and began working the controls of the ship. She decided a nice trip into the sun would do the Daleks a world of good. I believe she means that little orange Pegasus. Roll along? Exactly. The professor paused, stopping her wiggling and jiggling at the handles to look over at Twilight. You know, Scootaloo is actually a bit of temporal trouble. No. No! Celestia, no! 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 Twilight began to scream in terror. No! She darted away from the confused professor, pulling open the door only to find it lead into a broom closet. It was containing a sobbing Dalek. Move over! I'll hide with you! Twilight leapt inside, using her magic to shut and seal the door. Applejack rolled her eyes, marching over towards the now closed door. Twilight! Twilight, get out of here! No! No! The Dalek echoed Twilight's scream. Applejack pounded on the door. Twilight! Come out of the closet! No! Twilight screamed. Twisty blinked in confusion. Wait, Twilight's in the closet? So she's a thespian? Does that mean Twilight's doing her universe's version of Rainbow Blitz? I don't think a thespian is the word you're looking for, the professor told her husband. I am not dating Rainbow Dash, and I am not in the closet! Twilight screamed. Dalek, not either! The Dalek called out. Right! No Daleks or ponies in here! Just brooms! We are brooms! The Dalek agreed and said in agreement. Applejack growled, bucking the door. Twilight, come out of the closet right now! I'm just standing here. Twilight Sparkle's locked in the closet, Tiny sang. I don't know why Twilight and Dalek are locked in a closet. No! We are never coming out! Right, Mr. Roly-Poly? Roly-Poly agrees! The professor rolled her eyes. Dear Lord, this is disturbing. She trotted over, knocking on the door. Twilight, does you want to know the true origin of Scootaloo? I already know what you'll say! Twilight shouted. You will say she's a chicken! A giant chicken! Well, I don't want to hear it. I'll just stay in here with Roly-Poly. Isn't that right, baby? Roly-Poly agrees with Mama Sparkle! This is just getting crazy, Applejack complained. Well, crazy for us, Twisty reminded her. The professor banged on the door. Twilight, I assure you, I am not going to tell you Scootaloo is a giant chicken. That timeline was destroyed months ago, and we are in a new one. And this one really does have a Pegasus feeling named Scootaloo, and I know her origin. Okay, you can tell your story, Twilight said finally, but I am staying in this closet! Well, we all figured that anyway. The professor said with a laugh. Now then, Scootaloo's story begins on my TARDIS. The professor looked at Twisty, shaking her head, a slight smile on the corners of her lips. The gray Pegasus stallion kept looking back and forth at the 2 muffins, unsure which one he wanted to nibble on. Tiny had scampered off to go play in the pool, leaving the couple alone in the control room. Love, they are both the same. Just pick one, the professor said. They ain't the same, Twisty told her, his lazy eyes staring down at the 2 muffins, even as he addressed his wife. Funny, because I'm pretty sure that they are both chocolate chip muffins that are the same size, shape, and texture. And she hit a few controls on the TARDIS, the control panel, getting a readout of the 2 muffins. They both have the same number of chocolate chips, so you might as well just eat one, then the other. It's not that simple, Twisty complained. One of these muffins were given to me by Rainbow Bliss after I helped him out with clearing that thunderstorm that managed to escape the weather factory. What's this never thanked me before? I thought I'd eat that one, the professor said, turning back to the controls to make sure the wobbly lever was still wobbling. But the other one was given to me by Elusive after I made that special trip to get him to test he had ordered from Main Happen. That ain't that one. But I can't! Twisty exclaimed, throwing his hooves in the air. Does he see, Professor? Each one of them gave me a muffin, and the muffin represents our friendship. If I pick the wrong one, I might hurt their feelings. How will they even know? The professor asked dryly. Oh, they'll know. And then their feelings will be hurt. And hurt feelings are the quickest way to lose a friend forever! Two voices called out from opposite sides of the TARDIS. The professor and Twisty both leapt back, startled at the appearance of the two pink ponies. Both of them had poofy hair, though one was short and cut in the style of a pompadour, and the other was a big frizzy mane. Both had balloons on as their cutie mark and giant smiles on their faces. The only real difference was what between their legs. And, buddy, we don't mean their tummies. Berry Bubble, what are you doing here? Twisty asked in surprise. How are you even here? The professor exclaimed in shock. We are traveling through time. It should be physically impossible for you to even enter the TARDIS. Barry shrugged. I don't really know, Professor. I just said something bad with my berry sense, and I knew I needed to warn them about losing a friend. So I worked through reality and ended up here. Same for me, the female pony said. Did you go to the funny world where there are drawings? Bubbly nodded happily, bouncing over to the other grinning pony. Of course! The professor shook her head. Patty, I think... Take on me! Take on me! Both of them began to say. Take me on! I'll be gone in a day or two! Twisty stared at his muffin before smashing them together and eating them both at the same time, hoping that would make the crazy pink ponies go away. It did not work. The other pink pony gasped as he finally noticed he wasn't alone in the TARDIS with Barry. You look like the ponies I know. You look like Derpy, and you look like the doctor. And the pink mare's eyes nearly popped out of her head as she finally got to look at Barry. You're me! Well, not me, but a male me. You're me too. Not a me, but a girl me. Oh, we need to introduce ourselves. I'm Berry Bubble. I'm Pinkie Pie. Hey, do you know what we should do? Barry nodded his head rapidly. We should throw a party, but not just any party, but a Eurogender slot me party. Then we'll have cake and balloons and wear hats and... Professor and Twisty looked at each other. I don't think the universe is ready for this. Wait, I thought this story was about Scootaloo. What did you say, Twilight? It's kind of hard to hear you in the closet. And over the sound of the Daleks sobbing, the professor said. Roly-poly, not crying, the Dalek said, before breaking down once more with the sniffles. Roly-poly, have something in eye stock. Shh, it's okay. I won't let them hurt you, Twilight murmured. Twilight, stop treating the Dalek like your baby and tell us why you interrupted the story, Applejack said, rolling her eyes. I am interrupting because I am tired of every pony telling me they're going to tell me about Scootaloo, and then they go off on some story that barely has anything to do with Scootaloo. They could hear Twilight banging her head against the door. These stories are supposed to be about Scootaloo, and not strange events that barely connect to her. Twilight, I assure you. Don't give me that! Twilight snapped. This story isn't about Scootaloo. This is a story about Pinkie Pie ending up on your TARDIS, and the fact that none of those facts are making me question my sanity just proves how crazy all this is. And I am not going out of the closet! Twilight screamed. Which means you can't run away as I finish my story, the professor said. Clever girl. Why do we have to stay in here? Pinkie complained, as the professor shoved her and Berry Bubble into a storage closet. Because you two being here is going to cause a temporal anomaly that will destroy all existence. We need to figure out how to get you both back to your own universes without ripping the fabric of time. Barry wasn't happy. He had been hoping to throw a party with Pinkie, but there was only so much any of them could do when they were trapped in a closet. How were they supposed to fit tables in there? That doesn't explain why we had to be in a broom closet! Because it is nice and free of... Because it's nice and safe and free of Scootaloo stories? Roly-poly agrees! The professor sighed. It's bad enough you two are here together. The meeting of two beings that are basically the same pony, only with their genders swapped, is quite dangerous. It would even be worse if you were allowed free reign in my TARDIS. You might bump into a lever that would press the kill us all button. And that one... kill us? No. It will turn on the stereo. I got the Nickelback CD in now, and I'm tired of hearing the song Photograph. The professor shuddered harder at the thought of listening to American music. Ugh. No, I am afraid you two must stay here until I figure something out. Now, stop being babies and go into the dark and spooky closet. Slam! She slammed the door, using her screwdriver to make sure it sealed up tight. Twisty looked at the closet, utterly confused. Why do we even have a storage closet when this TARDIS can clean itself? So we have a place to shove ponies that threaten all the time, of course. Makes sense to me. Still waiting for Scootaloo to show up. Luckily for the two party planners, the professor had been able to figure out a solution within an hour, and she, along with Twisty Tail, had rushed back to the closet to let the two pink ponies know the good news. I must admit, I am rather excited that I didn't consider it sooner. By simply viewing their timelines, it is clear that enough differences have already occurred to make them just dissimilar enough to prevent a triple rift. But how does that get them home? Twisty asked. Well, Betty was going to be easy enough. All we needed to do was return home ourselves. As for Miss Pie, I am having the TARDIS create a chrono shuttle that will be able to pierce the walls of the other dimension and let her return to her own world without accidentally affecting the other dimension in the process. The professor threw the storage closet open, beaming as he spoke. All right, so we all... Oh, my Prince Solaris, what are you two doing? Binky and Barry looked up at the professor. They were on the floor in a very compromising position. I decided to throw a party, Barry said sheepishly. Pinky looked back at him with half-lidded eyes, a dopey grin on her face. Hi, Professor. She giggled, laying back against Barry's chest. Can I keep them? You mean Pinkie Pie slept with? Until the short self, the professor asked. Yes. She turned and saw Applejack doing a little green around the gills. Which is weird, since he didn't have gills. I don't know why you're so shocked. It happens more than you think. Granted, most time it involves a pony traveling back in time to have sex with themselves, but that is only because they want the youth-giving chronospores that can only be created by such an event. Chrono what now? Chronospores. When an older pony actually goes back in time and has sex with themselves, the union produces chronospores that help fight the aging process and actually render the person immortal for a short time. Author's note. The Super Adventure Club actually believes this. If one does it enough, then they can achieve immortality, well, forever. It becomes a cycle of... Twi, let me in! I want to hire the closet too! The door quickly shot open, and Applejack saw Twilight in hugging Roly-Poly. I knew it! Twisty exclaimed. I knew all of them were thespians! Well then, back to the story. You actually... The professor was ready to reprimand now. You slept with each other! Well, there wasn't much sleeping involved, Pinky said heavily. Twisty cocked his head. How does that... Don't think about it! Professor warned. The last being to do that went crazy and changed his name to Discord! Before the professor could continue, a chime went off over her head. She rushed over to the display and felt herself grow lightheaded. Oh, no. What? She's pregnant. Who's pregnant? You, Pinky. Us? You's pregnant? The professor shook her head. No, you are pregnant. You are pregnant? Not me. You are. That's what I said. Third Twisty exclaimed. Ironically, going past third base caused this problem. The professor practically exclaimed. This is bad. This is very... Everyone turned to the TARDIS door. I think it's for you, Sage whispered. The professor trotted up to the door, wondering how some point could be knocking when they were traveling through the time stream. Her question was answered when two blue ponies entered the TARDIS from their own time sphere. One was all blue with black headlights and a brown mane. A pair of yellow goggles were over his eyes, and he had a beetle key mark. The other had splashes of gold on his body, including his mane. He wore a yellow-tinted visor, and his cutie mark was a blue star. Thanks, Celestia, we caught up with you before you did something stupid. The Golden Stallion exclaimed, do you know how hard it is to catch up with a time ship that's only going to the stream, but also from other universes? Who the bloody hell are you? The professor asked, tired of ponies breaking into her TARDIS. The golden pony flashed with a grin. I am Booster Gold, and this is my Hero Life Fight, Blue Beetle. Stop saying that, Beetle complained. What the bloody hell are you doing on my TARDIS? Booster flashed another 1,000-watt smile. We are here to prevent you from making a grave mistake. And that is stopping the birth of the great Time Master Scootaloo and Roll Along. Nope! Sorry! We already did a time traveling story! Tony poked her head out of the closet, glaring at the professor. Derpy already told a story where Scootaloo is a time traveler, and hers had a song and everything. So I'm afraid you must stop telling your story and send us home now! Did it have pirates? Tiny asked. Nidzas. Pirates are cooler, the little colt stated. Several interdimensional jumps later. Spike! I'm back! Twilight called out. The baby dragon ran out to her, giving her a hug. Thanks, Celestia. I was so worried when... Ah! Spike? Twilight snapped, glaring at him. Don't yell at your new baby brother. Rolly Polly is going to glop Big Brother Spike Dragon! Spike began to back away from the Dalek. No, that's okay. No, stop! Twilight! Play nice, Twilight called out, heading into the kitchen to see if Defender 22 had left her some leftovers. Glopinate! Glopinate! Twilight!